It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one.
Definitely a different type of process.
Cut down or freeze up.
Being a coach's son. Jackson, of course, they keep reaching in. One still in the face, a hit by pitch. Oh my. Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast Baseball Talk. We appreciate you being with us. Hey, look, powered by Game 7 Baseball. We're looking forward to another great season with our partners at Game 7 Baseball. The fall season just ended. The tournaments are already available. I know there's some people looking at their schedules and everything will be getting to go in January. Look, we've got our new YBM club that will be coming up. We're going to have some pretty good discounts for you for Game 7 Baseball, so be looking for that. We've got 7 tournaments that we're working with Game 7 Baseball with that we're going to be at. We're going to be bringing our Saturday at the park. A lot of fun, interviews, trivia. We got baseball cards giveaway. We're going to have a lot of fun. We got some new things coming up with that as well. So game7baseball.com. Make sure you're setting your schedule for the upcoming 2026 season. If you like what we're doing here on Youth Baseball Midwest, we appreciate it. Support us. Subscribe. Hit that like button. That helps the algorithm. That gets it shared out to more people. We appreciate that very much. Follow us on X at uppercase YBM _ lowercase cast. If you want to follow us on Facebook or IG at Youth Baseball Midwest. We appreciate it very much. Folks, today on the show, Prime Sports Call Link. We have, as always, coming from the central part of the state, our good friend, head coach at Southern Boone High School, Brian Ash. Coach, how you doing?
Doing well, Kevin. Thanks for having me again.
And we've got from Rockbridge High School, the brand new head coach, Jeff Bazat. Did I pronounce that correctly, Coach?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
You're welcome. I had to ask. I asked around, how do you pronounce his name? So, but yes, thanks for tuning in. We're looking forward to the conversation here. Before we get started, Prime Sports here on the call link. The bat demo coming up November 15th at Fenton. You got a new one. If you're wanting to check out the 2026 bats, come to Prime Sports in Fenton, Missouri. You won't regret it. There's going to be, what do we got, Drew? Soldier Bats, Rawlings, Louisville Slugger, DeMarini, Tucci. Is Tucci there again? Yep, Tucci's there again. What's that? Marucci. Warstick. There you go. Warstick. I wonder if Jaw Bats is going to be there again. I didn't see that. So that'll be interesting. But nonetheless, come out, check out the 2026 models. We will be there with our video cameras. We'll have some fun. We'll be talking up some bats, what's new in 2026. Prime Sports. Check them out. PrimeSportsMW.com. November 15th, 9 a.m., 1550 Ocello Drive in Fenton, Missouri. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing good. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, man. Kevin Mulder, folks, the guru himself, joining us here in our conversation. Got a trivia question for you, folks. Since we have the new head coach from Rockbridge on the show, when was the last time Rockbridge, what was the last year, I should say, Rockbridge won the state championships? Comment below. Let us know what you think. We'll let Coach tell you at the end of the program here. Because I think you know, right, Coach? Oh, look at your back wall.
My eyes aren't that good.
And I can tell you I was on the receiving end on a couple of those games that year, so on the bad end.
So maybe that's a sore subject for us, Coach?
No, I mean I'm happy. I'm a Rockbridge alum, man. I can't hate on Rockbridge.
There you go.
But yes, at the time it was a sore subject. At the time it was, yes.
He got us back though multiple times.
Not very
Well,
many.
we're looking at Rockbridge, Central Missouri Athletic Conference. This is a conference. They added a new team last year. Coach Bazat, you've been around it for a long time. Where's the strength of this conference, and how good is it comparatively from around the state?
Well, I definitely think the strength of the conference is in the arms. There's since we transitioned over to those Tuesday, Wednesdays, conference days like this St. Louis schools and Kansas City schools have. Love it. Shows depth. But on Tuesday nights are typically you're typically always seeing upper 80s, and then they're kind of like Friday nights in college, and Wednesdays are kind of like Sundays in college. It's kind of more for the bats, and you have to show your depth of your pitching staff, come Wednesdays. But we've had some high level arms, and we still do. Tyler Putnam, Jordan Martin, Tanner Graham, Braden Hemmer, the Durham boys, Sam Wyrick, some really high level arms past several years. And so I definitely think that's a huge strength in our conference.
Kevin, you've been following this conference a long time. The talent level, and as we just saw, as he just made Jordan Martin last year, Tyler Putnam, I think you have him at 2.
Yeah, in the 26 class, yes.
Yeah. There is a lot of talent in this conference, isn't there?
Yeah, the middle of the state is pumped out a couple of the top, guys that scouts are checking out. MLB draft prospects. You mentioned Putnam and Martin. And Putnam's, certainly going to be high on the board this year. There's one other right-hander over in the Kansas City area, and it's really close. It's like a 1A, 1B type situation in Cooper Schrum out of Belton. But, one thing that I'd like to ask Coach about, just going to that second day, do you feel like that's helped to prepare you guys for postseason play? You mentioned St. Louis and Kansas City going to that 2 games back-to-back nights, going Tuesday, Wednesday, puts a little more stress on those bullpens. You got to find a little more depth in the pitching staff, I would imagine. What are your thoughts? Has that benefited your guys' programs?
Absolutely. I think it shows depth. When it comes to playoffs, and you have to play 21 high level innings.
You're all right. We can still hear you, Coach.
Video screen has popped off, but that's showed some depth. For example, like the Hickman week, we beat Hickman 10-0 for play day, and it was an absolute grind. And both teams probably had 10 different arms throw, and it was a great test. Great testament to the depth that any program has developed over the years, and I love it. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. This game, the game that we play, shouldn't be decided on one single elimination game. And it never has at any level, and so multiple games or series is always the way it's been.
That was sure proven by the World Series this year, correct?
Absolutely.
So, Coach Ash, you've been playing in this central part of the state for quite some time, or coaching there, playing there, all of the above. From where you're at, I know Class 4, you set yourself in that place. You head over to the Columbia tournament, you play in that area. You put yourself in this position playing these CMAC teams quite a bit just because of the competition, correct?
Yeah, we have in the past, certainly. Traditionally, and prior to even me being at Southern Boone, being at Jefferson City High School, like, we didn't have the CMAC, but obviously a lot of those teams currently in the CMAC we played. So I'm very familiar with the teams. And I agree with Jeff. Like, I do try to get out and watch some of those rivalry type games, and just the amount of arms in that conference is pretty unique. You don't see that kind of talent across the state, and especially in one conference. But there's also some very high level positional guys. We played Sedalia, I think 2 years ago in the Columbia tournament, and they've got a really good young group at that time. Now they're all, I think, seniors, junior along with some sophomores this year. So, that's a team that's kind of on the rise that, I think they probably, and Coach Zimmerman would agree, they took their lumps, but, they're kind of recycling and figuring some things out. So, yeah, top to bottom, I mean, it's a really competitive conference from what I've seen.
Coach Bazat, if you want to go out and come back in and reset that, go ahead and do that real quick. We'll come right and just pop back in. It should reset that, okay?
Okay, I'll try to do that.
Yeah, that'll work. Guys, we're talking about the CMAC this year. What are you going to see, as far as top teams? Rockbridge is going to be there again. Jeff City, they lost Jordan Martin. How are they resetting themselves? I mean, these are two teams that I think that are going to be playing for the top of that conference. Kevin, we'll start with you.
Well, like high school baseball, you're going to have to find new guys to come to the forefront, and some of the guys that had kind of been the stars over the past couple of years at those places have moved on. Both had produced a lot of talent recently, specifically over at Jeff City. A guy like Bodie Shennewerk, expect him to come to the forefront, who ended up playing a lot of shortstop for Jeff City with, Jordan Martin was a shortstop, but with him pitching and being a prospect, it was more Shennewerk than Martin, to be honest with you. So that would be one. But with Martin and Eli Miller, even departing Jeff City, that would be one of the ones to keep an eye on. And I look forward to asking Coach about kind of some of the younger guys over at Rockbridge that they got coming up through the system. But, not only a turnover in player, new coaching staff. Now, I would expect a lot of the stuff to remain the same, but I would rather get it straight from the horse's mouth here.
Right.
But certainly a lot of talent right there.
Coach?
Yeah, I'd like to add a little bit to that. So speaking of those, I mean, Jeff City did graduate, obviously, some high and low. I think the Wall kid was a really good hitter for him. He's gone. But the unique thing about the CMAC this year, which I think there's 4 brand new head coaches. Hickman's got a new head coach. Jeff City's going to have a new coach. I don't know if they've announced their coach yet, but they will have one. Helias has a new head coach. So you start looking down the road, like there's going to be change, not only by players, but also coaches and different philosophies. Things maybe be a little bit different than what they were in the past years. Obviously, Jeff's in a little bit more of an advantage because he's been with the program for 20 years. So he is new as a head coach, but he's not new from coaching and that program. So it's going to be interesting just to see kind of how things unfold. I can speak a little bit on Hickman and the youth that they have. They've got some talented young guys in that sophomore class that I know specifically. So they're going to be talented. They're going to be a handful. Helias, you can never count out because they're always solid. And again, I know they've got a really good young arm sophomore named Owen Wilde. Obviously, he's a good positional guy too. But right now, I think he's upper 80s right now as a sophomore. Not only that, he's a young sophomore. Like he could be a freshman this year. So that's another high level arm that you're going to see in the CMAC this year.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with those teams in that place. Eric Chick, this will be his second year or third year at Hickman.
He's no longer coaching there. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Hickman, Helias, Rockbridge, and Jeff City all have new head coaches this year.
So where did Coach Chick go?
He is an assistant coach at Westminster College up in Fulton. He kind of stepped back a little bit. I think the time commitment with little kids, the wife, and and he's volunteering. I think more of a volunteer role at Westminster, so it's not taking up a ton of time. But I'll see him. I see him coming back at some point. I'm not sure what school or where, but in some capacity when things kind of settle. And obviously, as his kids start getting a little bit older, I can see him getting back in it.
That's a huge amount of turnover.
Yeah.
Wow.
And honestly, I think a lot of it, I've talked to these coaches. I'm not going to speak on who and what, but between the stress, the the extra things that you have to do, the pressure, I think, whether it's from community or parents or whatever the case may be, there's all those things that coaches are dealing with that make it not as enjoyable when they first got into it. So, and a lot of it's personal reasons too. They just want to spend more time with family. And in this profession, I mean, unfortunately, I've been guilty of it. Sometimes that stuff kind of takes the back seat. So you have to be able to balance it the best you can. And it is difficult, but, you got to have a spouse that supports it and a family and that understand what they're getting into.
Could do a whole show on that piece of it because
right.
the time commitment and I hope all the families and parents and players show the respect and appreciation towards these high school coaches, because these guys, they're not getting paid big dollars to do this. They're doing it for the love of the game and to provide a great experience for these high school student athletes. So that's extremely important to remember. And we're very fortunate in our state because a lot of our programs have coaches that do it at a really high level. And I think that has shown through, just even in my time, not only at prep baseball, but just coaching, how much the coaching has developed over the past decade or so. It has gotten very good, and all the extra work these guys are doing preseason and even in the fall and just the winter training and stuff. You can see the difference with the product on the field.
The one thing that's interesting to me is in this conversation is we know everybody that's coaching at that level is competitive. And so, working to put yourself in those positions, I think it's tough because, as you said, Coach, we're all guilty of it at times, that the other things take a back seat to that pursuit because you're in sports because you are a competitive person. And that's where I think the lines get blurred. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it. Yeah, and especially, when my son was born, I was 33, so I'd already been kind of not established. I'm not trying, but like I've been in it for a while, so I kind of knew. Like I already had my philosophy down. I already had like what I wanted a program to look like, and obviously when he was born, like you just were kind of building off the things that you kind of already created within a program. So. These younger coaches coming in with families and, other responsibilities outside of just baseball. I mean, it is more difficult. Like I don't know how I would have balanced it having a family at a younger age. And then with the pressures there are now, like when I first started, we didn't have all this fall ball and all the travel stuff and everything like that. It was basically sport to sport. And that was it. And things were a little simpler back then, but in the pressure of in our microwave society and everything needs to be done now and the money involved and scholarships and all the things that are in it and social media and all that stuff, like it's just a lot for the kids and unfortunately the parents feel that pressure too, and they feel like they got to keep up with the Joneses and they're trying to offer everything they can for their son to be the best player they can be. And sometimes those realities they don't fit the narrative. Like it just doesn't, some of these kids need to probably maybe not do quite as much because they may never be that high level player that's going to go play in the SEC, and that's okay. But there is that pressure, I think, from parents and the kids. And then ultimately it trickles down to the coaches because they're feeling that pressure too.
Absolutely.
Drew, and it's not only on the field, it's also, opening up the weight room, getting that open for guys to train, the fundraising aspect of it. I feel like, and this has been a positive for Missouri high school baseball, but it's, you've really seen an uptick in the facilities and just the resources available. And a lot of times fundraising, goes a long way in helping provide your team, your program, extra opportunities, whether it's that extra trip or the extra pitching machine, hack attack pitching machine, or whatever it is that extra need is. So there's a lot more than just showing up to practice and right now to line up on game day.
Kevin, we're going to let you get into your questions here for Coach Bazat concerning his youthful players.
Yeah, we were talking about some of the guys that had departed the CMAC, but I know you have a couple good young players. Obviously Carson Bass is towards the top of that list. Speak to some of about some of the young talent that you got coming up through this Rockbridge program.
Well, definitely. We got some really great athletes, and I definitely think that's definitely one of our highlights. Carson Bass is one. It's a 6'6", 60 guy, getting more and more physical on a daily basis. Kind of a 5-tool type of guy. Really excited about his future. Also, an incredibly high character guy as well. Cale Kastner is another one. Probably going to factor in the middle infield and on the bump. He's had a couple injuries in the past couple years, and with our massive senior class this past year, it's been tough to crack that lineup. But I look for him to have a breakout year. Finally healthy, finally gaining weight. Possibly could be a mid to upper 80s guy on the bump as well when healthy. But there are some guys that have kind of had to wait their turn, especially at a large school like we have. And so I'm excited for some of those guys to kind of break out. Another one would be Finn Cunningham. A left-handed hitting catcher with some real pop. And so kind of been waiting on the JV team for 2 years. And so I'm excited for him to have that opportunity now.
That's always an exciting thing. You get these kids that have been, biding their time. They're still working. Their plan is like, yeah, let's go. Is that energy? Are you seeing that energy from those kids?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And they know, they understand because, we are a massive school. We do play a large schedule. We always try to make sure that we play a full schedule at all 3 levels. So those guys are staying ready. Also, like in our tournament week, that we're playing 2 conference games and five games on the weekend. With 7 games that week, a lot of those guys are going to get some opportunities. And so it's you never know what can happen. A lot of those guys are one injury away from being right in the mix of things. And so they always stay hungry. But we also, it's our job as a coaching staff to get some guys some opportunities here and there to showcase what they can have. And with 36 games, we usually have a few opportunities like that.
It's a lot of baseball. Coach, I wanted to ask you, your playing days, you're a Rockbridge alum. Talk to us about this opportunity, what that means to you as being an alum. You've been on the coaching staff. Your thoughts on that.
Well, I've lived and bled green and gold my whole life, and there's no other place I'd want to be. After I got done playing in Missouri Valley, I started coaching for Coach Whitney here right away because he told me I'd have a spot on his staff whenever. And I've been here since 2006, and we definitely had some rough times when I was a player here and not having a lot of success on the diamond. And Coach Towe gets all the credit for all of the success that we've had since 2006, since he took over until now. But we've always tried to run this like a college program. We're around our kids 11 months of the year, the weight room, on the track, bullpens in the indoor facility, all sorts of things that we try to facilitate for our kids. And the expectations are, to be a top 10 team in the state. And so there's going to be years that we're going to have more talent, less talent, but the expectations are always high. And our kids know that. Our community knows that. Our community has high expectations for all sports at Rockbridge. And so it makes you wake up in the morning and go, it's time to go. Doesn't matter if it's November or March. Like, you have a lot of work to do on a daily basis. And so it's just kind of always the way it's been, and it's going to be the way it continues, hopefully. And we're working hard right now for our program and our kids and trying to get them as physical as we possibly can to play a Class 6 schedule.
Guys, any questions? Follow up there?
No, I mean, I'm a Rockbridge alumni, and I can attest to Jeff and the amount of work. And And I would say this, I think Coach Towe would admit that, Jeff May said all the credit goes to Towe, which a lot of it does, but I can guarantee you he would say that Jeff, the John Hayes, the Nivenses, all the other coaches, I don't want to leave any off, but I know that Jeff had a lot to do. And, talking about pressure early, where you get pressure from, parents and kids and like doing all that stuff, like, well, coaches feel pressure from other coaches. I can certainly say that my first part of my Jeff City tenure, Rockbridge was the team. And if we were going to go anywhere, you had to beat them. And let me tell you, we took some butt whoopings and they made us better coach. They did. Like, and I told Town, and Jeff knows this. It's like, man, you all forced us to do things differently. Coming from Blair Oaks, a smaller school, I had one assistant coach. You did things kind of on your own because you didn't have all the help. So that didn't necessarily correlate at the bigger school. So we had to figure out and change things. And I'll be honest, most of it was because of what Rockbridge was doing. So, and Jeff was a part of that. So don't let Jeff kid you. Like he's had a hand in all the successes they've had.
One thing I always appreciate when I walk away from a Rockbridge game, I feel like I've watched a small college play baseball. Just the way they go about everything. There's just the organization and the amount of coaches and quality coaches they have, and just the instruction the kids are getting pre-game and during the game. It's a lot like watching a college baseball game just at a high school.
Coach,
I really appreciate that, Kevin. And that's kind of the way we wanted to leave any impressions. I mean, obviously, wins matter just as much as what people think of us, but there's never any stone unturned, and it's just kind of the way we kind of operate things. And we want to make sure all of our kids are in the right spot on defense and having great approaches at the plate and having full scattering reports and being as prepared as we possibly can. But even that doesn't equal wins all the time, and so we got to do whatever we can to put our kids in a position to be successful.
I got to ask you.
Now, Coach, is most the rest of the coaching staff still in place?
Yeah. Sorry if I left that out and I should have put it in somewhere else. But so our pitching coach is still here, Andy Height. I think he's one of the best pitching coaches in the state. We're truly blessed to have him. I've told this to our parents in our meeting. I would say most teachers and coaches, they kind of lean one way or the other. They're usually more of like an X's and O's planning, left brain type people, or they are more right side. They're more relationships, things like that. Coach Height is probably one of the best balances of both that I've gotten a chance to work with. He does great with the mechanical side, great at developing pitchers, but also he can be an X's and O's, and he develops great relationships with kids. So he's our one of our top assistants. We've got an addition of Noah Winslow. He was the pitching coach at Tolton last year, and so he's going to come over and kind of fill a void of me going up to the head job. And so he'll be JV, kind of working with a lot of our younger pitchers. I'm really excited to have him over. High baseball guy. His wife is a assistant softball coach at MU. And so a lot of experience. And again, he's a young guy. So it's nice to have some young guys on staff that connect with kids a little easier. John Hay is our catching coach. He's been here for over 10 years. I'm so happy to continue to have him. And then Tanner Hawkert, he's our C-team coach. Again, great relationships. The C-team with us is they run a full 36-game schedule as well. And so it's so nice to have a real teacher down there that is a program guy, that has no ego, that loves to develop guys up to the next level. And so then we also have one additional person on the staff is Kevin Bazat. So my brother has played high-level softball for the past 20 years on the number one team in the world, and he's finally retired, and he's going to come help with us. So we have a full coaching staff of a lot of guys with a lot of baseball knowledge, and then not to mention all have zero ego. They just love to be a part of a team. They love to have one common goal and teach the game. So I'm really excited about our staff.
That's awesome. I just want to know, is it like a covert mission to get information? I mean, how many guys are going and watching other games? You get these scattering reports. I can't find information on any teams, man. How are you doing that?
Well, it's in the 21st century. It's
Don't say it, Jeff. Don't say it, Jeff. Don't get the secret out. We know how to do it. Don't get the secret out.
But with Game Changer, a lot of stuff's out there for everybody. Thanks to Kevin, we get velos on everybody around the state.
Yep.
So I mean, but it's doing research. It's putting in the legwork. But it has been easier in the past 10 years compared to my first 10 years because there's just way more stuff out there.
It's tough when they're locking down that Game Changer too, right, Coach?
Oh yeah.
There's still workarounds. I promise. You can still get information.
Oh man. Last thing on the coaching piece here, and I'll let these guys chime in, on this as well. You mentioned Coach Towe. You've got your staff in place and whatnot, but are you? I don't necessarily. Yeah, there's always pressure coaching, but how do you separate yourself from I'm taking over for Coach Towe? What's the mentality going into this? He just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's had a great career. What's your thought process moving into that?
Well, to me, it's a mindset that I just have to, put in my mind that I should never try to live up to Coach Towe because he's the best, and so it's not even something I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to do the right things on a daily basis, and not even have a measuring stick like that. I'm very happy to put him number one all time, in Missouri, and leave him there. And so our kids in our community deserve coaches that give them their all on a daily basis, and that's all I'm trying to do. Obviously, think about some big picture stuff down the road, but just do the right things, coach the game the right way, make relationships with kids, help them develop, put them in a position to where they can go play the game freely, easily, and if all those little things are taken care of, I believe that we'll have a lot of success on the field.
I like that thought process. I think that's great. Guys, in coaching, it's hard when your peers, if you're, you know, trying to coach and take over from somebody. I mean, it's just tough. But I love that attitude. And to that point, coach, doing the right thing. This is a thought process going into this. It's about the kids anyway, right? It's not a matter of I'm trying to do what Coach Towe did. No, I'm working to create an opportunity for these kids to have success. And that's what it boils down to. I love that thought process. So the Columbia tournament, it's on you now, right?
Yes, sir.
So how's that been?
Oh, it's great. I mean, pretty much all the teams are back. We have 14 to 16 high level teams. We're still having one or two spots open, but we can make it work with what we have right now. But I'm so happy that it's the best of all three corners of the state: Southern Missouri, Kansas City, St. Louis, and everybody comes to this tournament with the same mindset of there's going to be a ton of failure, but we don't care because we're just sizing ourselves up against the best of the best.
It's always one of your favorites, isn't it, Kevin?
One of my favorite weeks of the spring is that Columbia tournament, getting to see teams from all different parts of the state. And, you kind of sometimes wonder, you watch a team doing really good over in Kansas City or down in Springfield or St. Louis, and you always think, man, it'd be cool if those two play and kind of get a look at what it looks like. So that is a fun week, but it's also that is a meat grinder, because I have literally seen teams go 1-4 and then end up making the state Final Four. So that one is a true test of a program's depth, and you certainly find out a lot about your crew. And no matter how it turns out, whether you go 5-0 or 0-5 or somewhere in between, generally feel like you tend to come away from it better than you were.
Yeah. And weather doesn't usually play an issue because all the fields are turf, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Coach, the CMAC. We're going to come back to this. Who are the teams that, I understand it's you and whatnot, but what are the teams that you see that could be potential trouble for you?
Well, I've been kind of seeing this for the past 2 or 3 years, but Kyle Zimmerman's staff over at Smith Cotton has definitely been on the rise. They've got a good group of young guys. They're, a lot of people don't understand, but they've had to, in the past many years, share a field with multiple schools. And so just even practicing on a daily basis has been difficult for them. And now they've got their own place. They're off and running. They've got a good group of young guys. They've got veteran coaches. They had multiple freshmen even starting this past year. I definitely think that they're going to turn some heads in the next couple of years, and they're definitely on the right track to kind of position themselves towards the top of the CMAC.
I like that because I got to know Coach Zimmerman a little bit this past summer because he worked with us in a analysis role for the Missouri American Legion Baseball State Championships there in Sedalia. And and they redid Liberty Park. It's great. It's gorgeous, man. They put all turf in. It's a beautiful park. I really liked what they did with that. But when you got, what was it, 5 or 6 teams playing there, correct? That gets tough.
Yeah.
It really does. So Coach Zimmerman, I really like Coach Zimmerman. I like what he's doing there. So we're looking forward to getting over there. Hopefully we can get a little more of those teams on the schedule so we can see a little bit more of that CMAC. Coach, your thoughts on the CMAC? Coach Ash, I know we asked you a little bit earlier, but who's at the top of that?
Well, I mean, I alluded to it earlier. I mean, I think Coach Zimmerman's got a good thing going there. I think Jeff said it best. They're kind of the team on the rise. Obviously, Rockbridge is going to be up there as always. It's hard to tell with Jeff City with all the change and some of the kids that graduated, but they do have some talented players. Elias is always going to be in the mix. I feel like they've got good young talent. And I do know their freshman class is really, really good. So they still may be a year away from challenging for that title. Not to say they can't do it this year, but, they're going to be in the mix. And then, Sedalia is one that pops out in my mind. And I'm happy for Coach Z because I know, like Jeff said, sharing fields and all that stuff for many, many years. It's, Sedalia's done him right. He got his own facility and it's showing.
With the coaching changes, is Capital City Coach Skinner still at Capital City? Okay.
Yeah, and they have one of the better arms too. If I know he's dealt with some injuries, but the Stieferman kid, I mean, I think he's still committed to Mizzou, as far as I know, and he committed as a freshman. Left-hand pitcher, big, strong kid, and he can hit. He's a two-way guy for him. But on the mound, if he's healthy, he's as good as anybody. So, yeah, they've got talent there too.
Kevin, you were going to say something?
Yeah, no, Stieferman is one of the top two-way talents, probably the top two-way talent in the state. High pitch ability, lefty, and missed a lot of last season with injury. But with him back healthy, assuming health, and he's still committed to Mizzou. And then the other one to keep an eye on is over at Battle. You got Tyler Putnam, one of the electric arms in the state. So there's not going to be a shortage of talent coming out of the CMAC.
Now, Battle's been kind of up and down in the middle there and whatnot. Is that program, where do you see them in moving up this order? I mean, Class 6 school, where are they at in this mix? Who wants to take that one? Is anybody?
I don't know enough about Battle. I can't. That's a Jeff Bazat question.
There you go.
It's on a Tuesday, all records are out because of Tyler Putnam. It's an equalizer. There's no doubt about it. I actually, he is about as amazing as a high school pitcher that it gets, but he's even more scary at the plate. especially in a game where you probably know it's going to be a 2-1 game. It's very scary pitching to a guy like that, um, that that could impact the game as much at the plate as he can on the mound. And so, doesn't matter what the record is. Every Tuesday, every conference opponent is going to have to be ready to go in that game and minimize mistakes because he could literally beat you by himself.
Wow. That's pretty high praise, Coach.
Very true.
Kevin's like, yep. When you got Camdenton, who joined last year, correct? They joined last year. Is Coach Durnan? He's gone now, correct? He's not coaching. They have a new head.
That's a good
there.
question. I don't know. Jeff, do you know? I don't know if he is.
Yeah, they have Camden has a new coach. I don't know him very well. And obviously, like Camden's been highlighted by the Durham boys for the past 6 or 7 years. So it's hard for me to speak too much on them. But they did a great job in the past, 4 or 5 years of kind of turning that program around. Durham did, and kind of making them relevant. And we had our first game with them last year was the scariest scary gets down there on their grass field, and we made several errors, and they were right there in it, and it was a 1-run ball game. But I'm not really sure, preview wise, what they're looking like this year.
Yeah. The thing that's interesting is you have then Camdenton, Helias Catholic, Hickman, Jeff City, and then of course Rockbridge. I think getting to know you a little bit, it's pretty much the same. You're bringing that there, but coming into this, we're looking at a lot of different programs here with new coaches. What is that going to look like? Turnover in rosters. This could be a very interesting season for the Central Missouri Athletic Conference. I'm wondering who's going to take control, who's got it early. And I think it boils down to the coaching staff in each one of these, as far as who's got good understanding of what the program is and where they're moving forward. And Coach, talking to you, that's what looks like we're going to see here with Rockbridge. Kevin, you could probably, Coach Ash, you could probably talk about this a little bit. If you don't come into these programs as a new coach with a really good understanding of what you have, who you have, and your program and what you want it to be, it could be very difficult, couldn't it?
Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit about. So it also depends on the time frame on when these positions were open. So a lot of these coaches are coming in on a late, hiring cycle. So they may not have had a summer to get with their kids and really create that atmosphere that they want, or however they want to run their program. So, that's part of it. When are those coaches being hired on? And then, what are their experience levels? It is different. Going from a class 1 or 2 school and making the jump to class 6 I lived it. I can tell you it is difficult because every coach at that level is good and all the staffs are good. So I think time frame on when those coaches were hired on, did they have the ability to really sink their claws into how they want that program to be? I think that's that's going to be a challenge. And I know there's at least 2 or maybe even 3 of those schools, they were late hires, meaning they were hired this fall. So I think, trying to develop that in the midst of, you may have football guys that, they're in season, you can't really get a hold of them. So, they're going to be a little bit of a disadvantage, not to say they can't make it work, but that's kind of concerning in my eyes.
It's a little bit of a balancing act in those situations because you kind of just have to get through that first. You're not get through, but you might not be able to implement everything that you might want to implement. It kind of takes an off season to put that in place. You might have to kind of roll with the blueprint that was there previously in that type of situation, I feel like.
Kevin, we've thrown out some names of players, out there, the top kids. Is there somebody you're looking at here that you've seen so far? I know February's a little ways away still, And I know you're going to get another look, but is there somebody just that you've seen early, maybe from the fall games? I know there was a lot of kids from the central part of the state there that just kind of we haven't seen that jumps off at you.
Yeah, I'll approach it from two different angles there. Obviously, well, I'll start with this. We've talked about Tyler Putnam. That is one of the true, top guys in the state. And we talked about Chase Stieferman. I would think, and I'll also throw in Kendall Hagedorn. But Stieferman and Putnam on the mound. Hagedorn, one of the top catchers in the state, and big time bat heading to Illinois State out of Sedalia Smith Cotton. And then one of the young guys that I'm excited about is Carson Bass. And, I am always the first to say, like, hey, Brian, don't ask me about players until February, because in my opinion, right now, even a month ago till the start of tryouts is when players are made. And these kids are going to change so much. And there will be some kid that, whether it's the way I think of them or even their own high school coach thinks of them, that opinion is going to change greatly over the next 3-4 months, because there's a lot of development to be had with strength training. How hard is a kid going to work in the batting cages or preparing for the season on the mound? So there will be some massive gains made. It happens every single year. You don't know who it's going to be heading in like this time of year, but it happens every year. So that is one of my favorite things about February and then into the early season is seeing who are those kids that are going to pop and I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but who put in the work and took that jump to become the next level player.
There you go.
And I'll add two more names to that. My guy, Asher Schultz, he's our second baseman last year, had 42 hits, just committed to State Fair Community College. He's about as pure hitter as it gets. He'll be on the middle infield this year. He's a guy that can just roll out of bed and hit. He's a high level player. And then Jackson Schultz, the shortstop over at Hickman. He's all state last year. He's an incredibly tough out. Sprays the ball all over the field. I think he had 40 plus hits last year. There are some high level bats at some of those teams as well.
There you go. Coach Ash, I know we're talking about the CMAC and, but I want to get a little picture. I know you had some kids you graduated and whatnot. Talk about the progression of what you're seeing from your kids and what you're going to be facing down there as well.
Yeah, we graduated. We lost a really good arm and two good arms. I mean, I'll just be frank about it. But we returned pretty much our whole entire offense and defense. The young arms we have, though, like right now we probably have at least 4 guys that are mid 80s to upper 80s right now as we speak, and 3 of those are sophomores. So our pitching staff is going to be pretty dang tough if they can command the zone consistently. So our offense, we are very, very fast. A lot of teams, we actually have the fastest kid in the state based on a 60 time. If he does his job and gets on base, Kevin knows him. Zach DeHaas, he's a junior. He runs a 6.2 60. He led our team with 5 home runs last year. So him at the top of the order, along with Nolan, my son, he'll be top of the order guy and led our team in almost every offensive category last year, was an all-state kid. So we have him. He's going to be a big, big contributor this year on the mound. Rowan Bono, who was 4-0 last year on the mounds, a sophomore. Kellen Schaller. We're very young. Jackson Woodward is a senior. He's going to William Woods. He could be as dominant on the mound as anybody when he's right. He'll also handle some of the catching duties. This team we have this year, like, talent-wise, is probably the most talented group that we've had since I've been at Southern Boone. Now, is it going to correlate to state titles and all that stuff? I don't know. But our guys are working extremely hard in the weight room right now. And, I'm probably as excited about this year than I ever have been in my coaching career.
So do you guys play each other this year?
No, Robert. No, we don't. No.
I just got to get him back in our tournament. That's all I got to
No,
do.
we're going to get back in it. My schedule this year, we're pretty tight, but we do plan on getting in it next year, the next 2 years.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
Now, I will say this: we've talked about this a lot with both these gentlemen. We're working on our schedule for the upcoming season, to our live stream schedule, and we're hoping to get over for some of the Columbia tournament this year. We're working on that. We do have currently right now penciled in the Southern Boone Invitational with Coach Boone. He's got a lot of we're very committed to working into that Class 4. There's a lot of good teams in the central part of that state, and you got quite a few kids or quite a few teams coming into that tournament that are going to be pretty solid, right, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's, so it used to be the Fulton tournament. We kind of took it over because they kept getting rain, and so we would host it because we had a turf field. So they're like, why don't y'all just take it over? So we did. We added Wright City to it, who traditionally in Class 4 has been pretty dang good. Fulton has been super talented the last few years. Fatima's always good. Moberly, who's probably had some of the best talent in our class in this area the last 2 years. North Callaway's a team. They've been, in the Final Four. For our size school, the Class 4 and even 3, like, you've got state title type teams every year in it. It's a 4-game guarantee. Not quite as daunting as the Columbia tournament. Adding that 5th game in the Columbia tournament, man, like I was like, wow, we were good for 4 games. And then after that, but like we had a conference game on, I think that Monday, and I couldn't throw one of my better arms, or I couldn't let them just continue to pitch. So we had a sacrificial lamb out there, and Rockbridge beat us, I think 16-2 or whatever it was. But I mean, I didn't want to sacrifice a conference game, but yes, our tournament is.
That was in the championship game, wasn't it?
No, it was in the 3rd. We lost the extra inning game to Zumwalt West.
Okay.
And they lost to Howe.
Yeah, you guys had a great run to get to that point.
Yeah,
which is really impressive.
Yeah, we did.
And it's like
decision
time.
As daunting as that, as tough as that Columbia tournament can be, we've had several small schools that have done really well in it. Southern Boone, Blair Oaks. So it's really nice for those guys that have no fear and are not scared to lose. Make it to the championship time and get a little respect from the city schools. That's a great thing that can happen too.
Yeah. That's why I like this opportunity with this tournament with Coach Ash, because we do talk about, like you said, the city schools, what you're saying with Rockbridge, and it's cool, Jeff City and whatnot. But the schools he just named off, they're really good. These programs are really good. They're consistently competing for opportunities to get to the state Final Four. That's, I think, something that is important to us as Youth Baseball Midwest, is putting a highlight on the whole state of Missouri and how good the baseball is across the board. And Kevin, you've been seeing this for quite some time, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So I think this is important as much as we love, the Columbia tournament, the gauntlet it is, the Southern Boone tournament that's getting ready. It's a contrast in size of schools, but I don't think it's a contrast in competition. I think the competition is as good at those levels in that respect. May not have the depth.
That's the biggest thing, the depth. Like in a 1-game situation, these schools will hang with most of the bigger schools in a 1-game situation. But when you start tapping into the second, the third, the fourth pitchers, and then the depth of the lineup, I mean, the 7, 8, 9 hole hitters for Rockbridge are 1, 2, 3 holes possibly for some of the smaller schools. So, I mean, that's the difference. But in a 1-game set, if you've got an arm, like those small schools can give you fits. So,
when is this tournament, Coach?
So we run ours. It's like towards the beginning of May. This year it is actually the second weekend. It's May 7th through the 9th. It's a 3-day tournament. Typically you play one game on Thursday, 2 on Friday, and then you cross bracket over, and then you just do your place games on Saturday. And Mexico's another good team in this. And Mexico's a co-host. I want to make sure I mention that. So we host a pool, Mexico hosts a pool, and then after Friday's over, we do all the scores and the records, and then we cross over and we play for the place games. So, like Mexico won it last year. They beat Fatima. We lost to Fatima, I think 1-0 to get to the championship game, and then Mexico just went on a run where they beat Moberly, Fulton, and Fatima there at the end. Fatima goes on and wins the Class 3 state title, and Moberly made their run, and it was really good competition. Milius for Fulton is dicing guys up. It's tough competition.
Doesn't Mexico still have the Pearson kid, Carter Pearson?
I believe so, but they've got a lot of guys back. They probably, them and us, they probably return as many guys from last year's teams. So
and
they're going to be tough.
Mexico had plus 20 wins, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
They were close. They kind of went on a little lull. They struggled, but then, man, towards the end of the year, man, they caught fire. They were beating everybody. So
they ended in our top 20. I think that's a quality squad. They're going to be back again. I'm looking forward to that. And that's why it's so important for us, when you see the contrast, from Rockbridge with Coach Bazat coming down, and you have those schools, but then you also have this right there in the central part of the state. There is such a great opportunity for competition across all classes. I think it's unique in the state, personally. Just one man's humble opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
So, guys, I appreciate you coming in as always. Coach Bazat, pleasure to chat with you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the season. Kevin, final thoughts on the overall scope of the CMAC?
Obviously looking strong and healthy. It will be fun and interesting to watch as all the new coaches and the new wave of talent comes in, see these teams form their identities this spring.
Yeah, especially Coach Ash with all the new coaches. It's going to be an interesting situation, isn't it?
Yep, it is. I kind of forgot about Camden with a new coach. That's five new coaches in that conference. So, yeah,
a lot of new identities being formed. I think it'll be a really interesting spring. So, folks, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. If you like what we should see, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That we appreciate very much. Follow us. Hey, everybody, have a great day in the Lord. Always remember, all you pitchers, Kevin, you know what it is, right? Well, wait a minute. You changed it up
right
last week, didn't you? Right?
Yeah, it's weight room time right now. Weight room time.
And Coach Ash, what are hitters supposed to do? They should be in the weight room too, right? Everybody should be in the weight room, right?
Well, my son's off to the side right here. He likes to come eat lunch with me. So, like, he's hearing all this. So this is fantastic. Yes, weight room time, getting that engine as strong as you possibly can. But here's the other part, though, too. A smaller school, we got multiple sport athletes. So sometimes, they got to find that balance. And, the weight room is the biggest time. Add weight, get strong as you can, and be ready for spring.
So, finish, what was the last year Rockbridge High School won the MSHSAA State Championship? What was it, Coach?
You asking me?
2014.
No. There you go.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
2014, we won it. Over Francis Howe. And Tony's got a lot more wins than us over the years, but we make sure we let him know.
You got that one.
We beat him in 2014.
Always good to let Tony know, hey, we got you once.
Yeah.
Well, you never know, Coach. You never know. See what happens. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time.